Welcome back, everybody. Our last video was the biggest video the channel's ever done. Wow. It was a massive hit, and we had no idea it was going to be. And we were talking about how, at least at our Walmarts, Targets, Best Buys, it's a ghost town for physical video games. And we had folks tell us in the comments, what are they seeing in their area? And the comments basically echoed. Some folks said it was fine, but I would say 70% were saying, hey, we're seeing the same thing in our area.
Yeah, and it's kind of shocking. It was kind of cool hearing that in like some areas that it's fine, and I was like, oh, lucky for you. Like that's all the area is becoming a freaking ghost town. But today we're going to talk about like the future of video games, and the comment, we got this comment so many times in that last video, is you will own nothing and you will be happy
in the future.
Yeah.
So
that's... Man.
Yeah, I think this topic, we need to add some more color and weight to it, as it was really just a quick reaction video to what we were seeing in our area. And, you know, on these different topics, feel free to jump in the comment section. It was alive and well in the last video, over 6,000 comments. We haven't got back to all of them. I'm very sorry about that. But one thing that kept coming up is that, you know, modern games have no collectability, right?
Yes.
Because the game isn't typically on the disc, or not very much of it, and you need the internet to download the patches and the rest of the game, and let's just say for the most part that is true. We know there are some games that it's not. So from a collectability standpoint, I agree with that comment that it is pointless for the long term.
But in the short term, I don't think it is, because if you buy it physically, you can let someone borrow it, you can sell it, you can return it, you can do all these things because it's physical,
and because you own it.
Yes.
You have it.
If you own it, you have options to do whatever you want with it. You can take a freaking baseball bat to it and destroy it. You can do whatever you want because you bought it and you own it. I know a lot of people are like, well, why buy it if I have to download it and all this stuff? I get that. But servers are still up and alive. Servers are still running. So for the most part, it's going to keep working. You know, if you buy the new Madden and you return the last one's Madden, you might only get $3, but you still got $3. If you buy it digitally, you're not getting any money back. You can't let anybody try it unless you give them your hard drive. All these things. Yeah. Just, I think in the short term, collectability is still a thing.
Yeah. You know, 25 years from now, will your PS4 game still work? Will the server still be up? I don't know. I honestly don't know. We've obviously seen the Wii server go down. We've seen the Wii U online store go down, and there was the threat from Sony of the Vita and PS3. Yeah. 3DS is no longer, the store is no longer available to purchase new things. You can still re-download, and if you want to see coverage on that, we will leave some of those videos in the description below. But you make the best point, and this is how I replied to a lot of these comments, is you can even just loan it to a friend.
Yes.
There are so many games that I have gotten or you have gotten, and we really like it. And it's like, well, dude, take it for the weekend. And then you're like, yeah, dude, I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I'm not.
So, yeah, I didn't click with it, so then I'm not going to buy it. It's a great way to test and share things that you love with the people that you love. It's because if it's digital, man, it's like, well, come over to my place and then play it on my console, but you got to start at my saved file, and it's a lot harder to share the experience with other people, and I think that's why. I mean, obviously we're talking about video games, but this can apply to everything.
Yeah.
Sharing entertainment with people is what it's about, you know? I mean, we're a co-op channel, so we love that type of stuff.
You know, if you see a movie on Netflix, unless you want to share your login with me, if I don't have Netflix, let's say.
Yes.
You know, I can't do that, but if you have it on VHS or DVD or Blu-ray, it's like, hey, dude, take this. I think I did that when you watched Venom.
Yes. And then I got to get a copy of it again, because I was like, oh, I love this.
Yes.
And I bought it.
So you can trade the games, you can lend them to someone, you can sell them. Even if you're trading them in at GameStop, maybe you only get a few bucks. Prime example, this last weekend, our friend Dan, he was done with WWE 2K22 because he got the new one. And he said, hey guys, I want you to have this. I want you to try it out.
That's awesome, because we didn't have a copy of it.
I guess I would be more inclined if digital was half the price or something like that. Maybe I would sacrifice some of those things. But when you're ripping $70 for a game, and you literally can't do anything with it but play it yourself. What if it's a brand new game? And the trade-in value even at GameStop is pretty decent, 20, 25, 30 bucks. And you get it, and you're like, dude, I hate this.
Yeah.
Or you can throw it on eBay and get probably pretty damn close to market value for it that way. It just robs the consumer of any and all power when we go digital.
I mean, obviously, there is cons and pros to both sides. Digital is so awesome, the convenience, being able to play it wherever you want, whenever you want, all this stuff, being able to get all the DLCs and updates and all this stuff. But then it goes back to physical media and all what we just talked about.
Yeah.
It really sucks, and it's just going to be weird, like all these epic games that are coming out now. In 20 years, how are you going to be able to show somebody that game, or show somebody what you were playing when you were in your 20s or 30s or whatever? It's like, man, if I have kids, I can freaking show them Super Mario Bros. On the NES right now. In 20 years, am I going to be able to show them freaking Call of Duty Warzone? I don't know.
And nobody's surprised, right? No, this isn't catching us off guard. We've seen it come through different mediums, right? Forms of media, movies, music, probably most notably. Will physical video games still be around? I think there will always be some sort of market there, and I don't know what that means or what that looks like, because, the size of these games is not getting any smaller.
Yeah.
But is limited run games going to keep popping off? Is strictly limited? I think in some form or fashion. And hell, we can still get cassette tapes and vinyl records.
Yeah. So, I mean, vinyl did have a resurgence, obviously, because it was huge back in the day, and then it came back, and I'm a huge vinyl collector. I love physical albums, and I love listening to it the way it was meant to be played. But I also pay for Spotify monthly, and I love streaming music, and I listen to Spotify so much. So, it's that convenience factor over... It is so tough, and obviously this has been going on for a while. It's not just what are we... streaming and all this stuff has been active for 10 plus years now.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like it's snowballing.
Tipping point for me was just seeing our store shelves completely shelved like a freaking desert in the stores. And, all the B-roll footage you're seeing in this episode regarding this topic is new.
Yes.
Because we got people, there's no way it was like that. And then some folks actually replied to their own comments and said, actually, I went to the store and I seen the same shit. I didn't believe you guys. We're not making it up. There's no reason for us to do that. If you've been around the channel for a while, we're pretty straight shooters around here. But I think, you brought up streaming, obviously the rise of Game Pass, and I think that's going to be the future. I think, I don't know if you call it streaming or not, but the Nintendo Online options on the Switch with the Nintendo, the Game Boy Advance, the Sega Genesis is kind of
streaming. A version of streaming, because you have to pay for a streaming package in order to get the games, and then I think if you quit paying for it, you lose access to the games.
And Steam, obviously... Game Pass, Sony's version of PlayStation Plus, whatever that's called.
Just super nice, because you can play all these old games, just right on your console. You don't need to...
I think in those instances, though, I think a lot about, folks who maybe don't have the best internet connection. It's like we're catering to the majority here, but there is a minority out there that maybe is in a rural area and they don't have a great internet connection, or they can't afford an internet connection. So that sucks, because... Also on these streaming services, games can be added and pulled whenever, as they will. That applies to digital downloads as well. Not that long ago, and this has happened throughout multiple platforms. There's games or PS1 games that you could download that are no longer there. But I really think about in the Xbox 360 era, you could get the TMNT arcade, and there's the Simpsons arcade game. And then they vanished like a fart in the wind. And that happened with the Scott Pilgrim game for a little bit as well.
It's because of licensing.
Yeah.
So obviously, streaming and all this stuff, when it applies to games, is super nice, because you can play whenever is available.
Yep.
But then it's like, license run out, or maybe this company decides, hey, I want to start my own streaming service, and then they move all their games from that streaming. It's happening with streaming, TV shows and movies. It's like, it was Netflix and Hulu, and now it's like, HBO, Peacock, all these other... So then they're pulling their stuff off these, so then it's like, in order to watch everything, I gotta buy everything, and it's becoming this ridiculous thing, and people are fine with it. People are happy. I mean,
I don't think we're probably too far off from a day where there's a platform for various developers, right? Like you can only play Activision games if you have the Activision app that you pay.
Capcom, which will be, I think, apps within that you can download on your console. It's just going to be this weird thing where it's like, damn, you're paying $9.99 for Capcom, $9.99 for Activision, $9.99 for Xbox, and it's just like, dude, you're paying freaking $40 a month just to have access to these games, when it's like, dude, you could buy it physical and then have access to it forever.
And the games that have, soundtracks in them are going to be very susceptible to this.
Yes.
Think of all the games that are not backwards compatible on the current Xbox Series X, Xbox One, etc. A lot of it has to do with that licensing issues. Burnout 3 you can't play on the Xbox One or Series X because it's an awesome game, but you still can play Burnout Revenge. How long that'll last, I don't know, but I think that sheds a lot of light on the types of games that can get pulled. And then, who knows, storm in your area, internet's down, how are you going to, how are you going to do anything? How are you going to watch TV? How are you going to play games? How are you going to listen to music if we don't have the physical stuff later?
It just sucks. And this kind of applies more to TV and movies, but I wouldn't be shocked if it does come to video games eventually. But with streaming, like say wrestling, for example, streaming wrestling, they're able to remove and select certain things from matches. So then if you watch it on streaming, you don't know that that certain thing is gone. They remove it because of, just certain things.
Yeah, I mean, PC culture
and all this stuff where it's like, yeah, maybe that's not the correct thing, but that is actually what happened in that match. Yeah. But now it's gone forever. So they're kind of modifying history in a way.
Yep.
With TV shows and movies. And Disney Plus is doing it with like all their old movies and like all this stuff. They're modifying it so then new viewers and new people watching it don't know what the original product was. Yeah. So then it's like, it just gets weird. I wouldn't be shocked like in video. I mean, obviously there's updates and stuff. Yeah. Change games, so it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, the future is gonna be weird.
It's gonna be different. It's gonna be different. I think for me, it makes me want to just really dive more into stuff that I missed along the way. Not really complaining. I don't like the direction it's going, but that's the choice I have as a consumer, is if I want to participate in what I consider kind of madness in a market that I don't really care for, or all throughout history, all of us that are hardcore gamers, we have a backlog that we'll never get to. I could never buy another game and I will be just fine. So it's not like I'm super pissing and moaning, but I just really wanted to shed light on, we're kind of at that apex. It's been coming and we all knew it, but I think, we've seen the last couple generations, discless consoles, right? Or that can't play a disc. And I think that's only going to continue. And you can even see stores not carrying the stuff. Yes, you can still get stuff on Amazon. I get that.
Yes.
But there's even games that are sold out quite a bit that are newer on Amazon. I had a hell of a time getting Metroid Dread. I had to go through Play Asia to get a copy of Metroid Prime Remastered.
Yeah. It's just really annoying. Obviously, I'm going to partake in both worlds. I love physical media, but then I love the convenience of streaming. Yeah. And it is so nice to be able to fire up and play your games immediately and not have to worry about it or not have to get up and put a game in. Obviously, it's nice, but I like having the option of both.
Yeah.
I like being able to do both, and I like the experience of, going to the game shelf, looking at all the games, or going to the vinyl and picking out a record, and just like experiencing physical media for what it is versus just scrolling through an endless computer list of just like game. And then if you, with Game Pass, I mean, I do the same thing on Netflix. So you're like, oh, that game looks cool. You play for 5 minutes, you go, oh, this game sucks. Out, pick a new game. You don't even give game chances anymore because you have so many options with other games.
I would love to know this or ask this question. I think I know what the answer would be, but I would love to know a percentage of how many games folks have beaten on Game Pass.
Oh, yes.
I bet you it's a lot lower than you think because of that exact thing you said. I wonder how many times people will play an older game and play it front to back because they can channel surf.
Yep. I bet a lot of people try out a ton of games.
Yeah.
And they maybe play it for a couple days, and then they move on to the next thing because they're like, I want to try this, and then never actually go back and finish it. They're just like taste testing,
Yeah.
And then with the option of all of them, what's the chances of them going back to that? Probably very slim because it's like, oh, this just got added. I gotta play this. I gotta play this. I gotta play this. It's just gonna be weird, dude. I don't know.
We got a lot of comments of folks saying vote with your wallet. I think it's past that point. I mean, obviously, I do that as a consumer. We all do that as consumers, but I just think this is where it's going, and there's nothing we're really going to be able to do to stop it. There's not enough folks that care. There's a lot of folks that's the only way they have ever gotten games, especially there are a lot of kids, and they haven't known any different. But there's a lot of kids that haven't even ever watched network TV. This is just their reality, their new world, and we're kind of stuck here being that middle-aged, get off my lawn type of gamers. Like, I want my physical games. I don't think that's enough to swing the pendulum.
Nope, I think it's already passed. I think it's already started. A lot of comments that we were getting, I mentioned at the top of the episode, is you'll own nothing and you'll be happy. I think it was WEF that came up with that, like the World Economic Forum, and they're projecting like 2030. It's going to be a mostly digital world. You're not going to own anything, but you're going to be fine with it. That's not that far away, guys. That's in like 7 years. I mean, 7 years is kind of a long time, but it's in the grand scheme of things, that's not that long, and that's gonna be a weird time.
Yeah,
I just can't even imagine in 7 years, like, not owning anything but being fine with it.
Yeah, subscription services for cars.
Yeah, subscription services for cars, dude. I read something that, like, to get heated seats, you got to pay $18 a month just to have heated seats. What? Why can't you just buy it and have it? That's wild.
It's going to come to that, and that's just the future. Like, love it, or hate it, that's where we're going.
Yeah.
Not really much we can do other than talk about it and reminisce. We focused a ton today on kind of the cons of the digital world. There are pros. Yeah. There are definitely pros to it, but this is just niched down into our world of video game collecting. And we want to touch on, really, is the collectability of these physical games. Does it matter? Does it even matter that it's going to digital? I really, 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 really believe that it does, because it's just more and more power being pulled away from us, the consumer.
I mean, is Nintendo Switch, their cartridges are fine, right?
Well,
are some of them downloads?
Well, some of them have the updates and things like that, but I mean, there is this new thing coming out that because of the type of memory they use, that they maybe will be dead in 20 years or whatever.
So then, the longevity of those.
Yeah.
Okay, that kind of, it sucks, dude.
It's wild.
It sucks.
But that's just the way it's going. You know, even the disc-based consoles, you know, the lasers are failing, the disc drives are failing, which they can all be repaired.
Yep.
I just miss the days. You know, my NES that I have as a kid, it's going to outlive me. It still works great. So is my Super Nintendo.
Fire in, works. It's made to last. I think this cart, I mean, it's been going on for probably 20 years, but things aren't being made to last anymore. They're being made to last a certain amount of time, so then you buy a new thing. Phones, cars, like because they know, if we only make it last a year and a half, they'll buy a new one so we can make more money.
Apple doesn't want that iPhone sitting right over there, your phone. They don't want it to last you 10, 15 years, even though you spend an arm and 3 legs for it.
They want it to, the battery to die quick. They want it to be like, okay, well, the newer and better one's out, so buy that one. Buy this one. They're encouraging you to do it by making cheaper products.
I know we sound like get off my lawn guys, but folks, they got us consumers by the short and curlies. They got us right where they freaking want us. And we wanted to dive into some of these things that came in through the comment section in our last video. Chime in the comment section below on your viewpoints of this topic. Do you agree with us? Are you on the same side of the fence as us? Or are you like, I don't really care, it's just video games, it's not the end of the world? We would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
But it is just jarring. It's jarring. And we're here. But we appreciate you tuning in, subscribing to the channel. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the physical media world while it lasts.